Okay, progress and poverty. We're on chapter, I think it's 4 of the third book, maybe? I don't know. But let's see, where's the page number? So we're starting page 253, if that helps in any way. Chapter IV. I'm not even going to try and guess what number that is. I mean, I guess 4, but I don't know. Effect of the expectation raised by material progress. We have now seen that while advancing population tends to advance rent, so all the causes that in a progressive state of society operate to increase the productive power of labor tend also to advance rent and not to advance wages or interest. The increased production of wealth goes ultimately to the owners of land in increased rent, and although as improvement goes on, advantages may accrue to individuals not landholders, which concentrate in their hands considerable portions of the increased produce, yet there is in all this improvement nothing which tends to increase the general return either to labor or capital. But there is a cause, not yet adverted to, which must be taken into consideration fully to explain the influence of material progress upon the distribution of wealth. That cause is the confident expectation of the future enhancement of land values, which arises in all progressive countries from the steady increase of rent, and which leads to speculation, or the holding of land for a higher price than it would then otherwise bring. We have hitherto assumed, as is generally assumed in elucidations of the theory of rent, that the actual margin of cultivation always coincides with what may be termed the necessary margin of cultivation. That is to say, we have assumed that cultivation extends to less productive points only as it becomes necessary from the fact that natural opportunities are at the more productive points fully utilized. This probably is the case in stationary or very slowly progressing communities, but in rapidly progressing communities where the swift and steady increase of rent gives confidence to calculations of future increase, it is not the case. In such communities, the confident expectation of increased prices produces, to a greater or less extent, the effect of combining among landholders and tends to the withholding of land from use in expectation of higher prices, thus forcing the margin of cultivation further than required by the necessities of production. This cause must operate to some extent in all progressive communities, though in such countries as England, where the tenant system prevails in agriculture, it may be shown more in the selling price of land than in the agricultural margin of cultivation, or actual rent. But in communities like the United States, where the user of land generally prefers, if he can, to own it, and where there is a great extent of land to overrun, it operates with enormous power. The immense area over which the population of the United States is scattered shows this. The man who sets out from the eastern seaboard in search of the margin of cultivation where he may obtain land without paying rent must, like the man who swam the river to get a drink, pass for long distances through half-titled farms and traverse vast areas of virgin soil before he reaches the point where land can be had free of rent, i.e. by homestead entry or preemption. He, and with him the margin of cultivation, is forced so much further than he otherwise need have gone by the speculation which is holding these unused lands in expectation of increased value in the future. And when he settles, he will in his turn take up, if he can, more land than he can use, in the belief that it will soon become valuable, and so those who follow him are again forced further on than the necessities of production require, carrying the margin of cultivation to still less productive, because still more remote points. The same thing may be seen in every rapidly growing city. If the land of superior quality as to location were always fully used before land of inferior quality were resorted to, no vacant lots would be left as the city extended, nor would we find miserable shanties in the midst of costly buildings. These lots, some of them extremely valuable, are withheld from use or from the full use to which they might be put, because their owners, not being able to or not wishing to improve them, prefer, in expectation of the advance of land value, to hold them for a higher rate than could now be obtained from those willing to improve them. And in consequence of this land being withheld from use or from the full use of which it is capable, the margin of the city is pushed away so much further from the center. But when we reach the limits of the growing city, the actual margin of building, which corresponds to the margin of cultivation in agriculture, we shall not find the land purchasable at its value for agricultural purposes, as it would be were rent determined simply by present requirements. But we shall find that for a long distance beyond the city, land bears a speculative value based upon the belief that it will be required in the future for urban purposes, and that to reach the point at which land can be purchased at a price not based upon urban rent, we must go very far beyond the actual margins of urban use. Or to take another case of a different kind, instances similar to which may doubtless be found in every locality. There is in Marin County, within easy access of San Francisco, a fine belt of redwood timber. Naturally, this would be first used before resorting for the supply of the San Francisco market to timberlands at a much greater distance. But it yet remains uncut, and lumber procured many miles beyond is daily hauled past it on the railroad because its owner prefers to hold for the greater price it will bring in the future. Thus, by withholding from use of this body of timber, the margin of production of redwood is forced so much further up and down the coast range that mineral land, when reduced to private ownership, is frequently withheld from use while poorer deposits are worked, is well known. And in new states, it is common to find individuals who are called quote-unquote land poor, that is, who remain poor, sometimes almost to deprivation, because they insist on holding land which they themselves cannot use at prices which no one else can profitably use it. Wow, that's really interesting. That's real? That's real? Like, people, that's crazy. What a no! Oh my God, no! Okay. Don't worry. I accidentally went somewhere, but it's fine. I found it again. Okay. To recur now to the illustration we made use of in the preceding chapter, with the margin of cultivation standing at 20, an increase in the power of production takes place, which render the same result obtainable with 1/10 less labor. For reasons before stated, the margin of production must now be forced down, and if it resets at 18, the return to labor and capital will be the same as before when the margin stood at 20. Whether it will be forced to 18 or forced lower depends upon what I have called the area of productiveness which intervenes between 20 and 18. But if the confident expectation of a further increase of rents leads the landowner to demand 3 rent for 20 land, 2 for 19, and 1 for 18 land, and to withhold their land from use until these terms are complied with, the area of productiveness may be so reduced that the margin of cultivation must fall to 17 or even lower, and thus, as the result of the increase in the efficiency of labor, laborers would get less than before, while interest would be proportionately reduced and rent would increase in greater ratio than the increase in productive power. What? God damn it. I don't know what. Something happened to the book. I can't see it now. Oh, fuck. Are we? Okay. I don't know. I guess we were 250 or something. I don't know. It took me to, for no reason, it just took me back to page 137. So bear with me, please. I apologize. I did not even do anything. I was just trying to keep the screen bright. Oh my God. Okay. This phone was working a lot better for reading than the other one was, but now it's not really that much better, is it? Because every time I touch the fucking thing, it just jumps somewhere. Anyway, la-di-da. Here we go. Chapter Wages and the Law of Wages. I think we read that one. Oh yeah, we're way beyond that. The 250s, I think. 250. What page is this? Oh my God. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, but it's just taking a while. 230. 237. I think we're close. I don't know. I don't really know. God damn it. Oh, God damn it. Okay. I don't know where. No, we're still not there. Improvements, effects, and material. Okay, improvement in the arts. Is that where it was? I don't know. I will just have. Oh, fuck. I just have to start.